Dearest listeners,
Book babes and book bros.
welcome to Book Babble. I'm Rachel,
And I'm Tanya, and we're the Witlet Women, your host for today.
and today we have a very special guest star. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Shameez Patel, the author of Playing Flirty and the upcoming novel Next Level Love. I mostly write romance, but I do dabble in other genres too.
Well, we're so excited to have you on the show today, Shameez. Are you ready to babble?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, I'll start our 5-minute timer now.
All right. So my first question is literally always what inspired your stories?
My stories come to me in the form of characters first. I've always said my stories are all character driven, and usually they come to me with their problems, whatever it might be. Usually they want to fall in love, and then it gets handed over to me, and I need to figure out a way to make that happen.
That is the cutest. I love that. That's the cutest answer I've ever heard, ever. Um, so since you are very character driven in your writing, which character was the most fun for you to create so far?
Gosh, a lot of my characters are fun. I think because I'm writing rom-coms at the moment, it really just lends itself to a lot of humor, a lot of silliness and shenanigans upon shenanigans. I think Rose was one of the most fun characters to write because she's a total fangirl, and I really enjoyed leaning into that as an adult who is still obsessed with everything they loved in their youth.
Yes.
But I love each character for different reasons, and the whole experience is fun. I don't know. That is a terrible answer. I'm sorry.
No, that's a good answer. I love that. Especially the fangirl part because like there's so much that we lose as adults from our childhood, so it's nice to reconnect with it.
Absolutely. And it does get sort of belittled in a way that you're supposed to outgrow it. And I don't think that's the case.
I agree with you 100%.
Absolutely agree with that. Um, so you said you write rom-coms now. What are the other genres that you're interested in or have written in?
So I've written a fantasy trilogy called the Celine Trilogy. It's under my first name, second name, plus Papa Thanasio added on the end. And it is big fantasy, very strong romantic subplot. So I wouldn't go as far as to say it's romantasy, although it does lean that way, according to some.
So I'm going to continue on the character question train here. Which character have you written in all of the genres that you most closely relate to?
Oh, I'm sort of tied between Rose again in Playing Flirty and Lincoln, who is the main male character in Next Level Love. I think I'm somewhere a combination perhaps of the two of them. I think I've put a lot of my vulnerabilities into both of them, which I hope lends to very authentic writing, but it also makes you very vulnerable to audiences.
That's the best kind of writing, in my opinion. Like when you can tell the author's vulnerable, absolutely.
I hope so.
So what is your process for writing? How do you get what's in your head onto the paper or the computer or whatever? I still talk about paper like it's a thing.
Oh, I wouldn't personally recommend my process to anybody. It's literally just a complete word vomit, fingers down, and just write until I've covered the entire story. And once I get to the end, it is incoherent, but it's there. And it then takes me like, gosh, it takes me forever to edit it into something that makes sense. But the very first draft is just like a stream of consciousness, just get it down from start to end so that I know, so that I'm giving those characters what they want. Like I said, my characters come to me with their problems. And once I've sorted it out, they don't really care that it's done in such a messy, awful way. They're just happy to get their happy ending.
Yeah, I took some creative writing classes in college and they talked about that as being like a legitimate way to write. And I think it's
That's
so cool to see
awesome.
that happen. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That
Yeah.
validates my experience. Thank you.
All right, so we are down to the wire. Shamiz, can you tell me any secrets or Easter eggs about your books?
Oh, I am an Easter egg girl. Like everything is linked. If I mention any fictional thing inside my fictional world, let's say I mention a fictional band or a fictional race car driver, know that there's probably another book planned for that rock star or that driver, and eventually things will tie together in a very, very subtle way because I sort of like adding meaning to every line.
To piggyback on that, sorry, Rachel, do you do that in all of the genres that you write in or just your rom-com?
I mean, I've only had the rom-com and the fantasy published, and there wasn't much opportunity for a crossover, but I do cross them over as much as I can.
Love that. Okay. Thank you. All right, so it looks like we just ran out of time. So your 5 minutes are officially over. You made it through. Congratulations. So we'll
That was
put the
so fun.
it's a blast. We love doing it. So the 5 minutes go on our social channels, and then the full episode will go on YouTube and Spotify. So we're just gonna keep chatting and having some fun. I know Rachel got cut off right there at the last second, so I'm gonna let her start us off.
Yeah. So, do you? So, going back, I very much talk about technical aspects of writing, and Tanya talks
Hmm.
about emotions, which is really bizarre because I'm a counselor, like a mental health counselor. So you'd think I would go the opposite way, but I don't.
And I work in
Uh,
corporations with all the technical stuff, so you'd think I would lean technical.
so
I swear that's the way it goes.
it really is. So, kind of going back to your process for writing, do you edit your own work, or do you have an editor? How does that process for you?
I edit my own work before it reaches my editor. So I'm published with Forever, the romances, and the Forever's obviously got their own in-house editors. So it does get edited by them as well. But I am expected to submit the very best version of the manuscript that I can. And it has taken many, many years to learn, and I still don't think I've got it right. So I do edit, and after I've written, it takes, gosh, it probably takes like 4 to 5 more revisions of just trying to get it there.
Wow. So, do you have like any resources that as an indie author you would suggest for editing before you send it out to the like your final editor editing house?
Yes. There's a book, the name escapes me now, her author's name. The book's name is How to Show, Not Tell, and then in brackets, and really get it this time. And that was something that was told to me. Oh, sorry, I'm having a bit of a wardrobe malfunction. That was told to me many, many times, show, don't tell, show, don't tell. And it just didn't make sense until
Yeah.
I read this book. I read this book and it actually made sense. And it was just very funny to me that the little disclaimer and really getting it this time was true, that she managed to teach me how to do that. So I would definitely recommend that. I've got my own little editing document now that I've built up over years of being edited um, by publishers, editors, and also my agent. But in terms of indie authors wanting to find some resources to do that, other than that book that I mentioned, there's also something called the Emotions Thesaurus. Again, I forget the author's name. I can just give you the title. I'm sure it'll come up, which really just helps with how to write your interiority, which can be very challenging for writers. On a more technical aspect, I sort of bounced around between plenty of websites. You learn about filter words and crutch words and those sorts of things. I remember watching a few of Alexa Dunn's YouTube channel, um, which also spoke on editing quite a bit. But there isn't one specific book that I would recommend for the really line level technical things.
So I actually have heard quite a few indie authors talk about the same problem that you brought up, like how you need to learn to show instead of tell. So it seems like
Mhm.
um it's such a big hurdle for new indie, new debut authors, not even just indies, but just their debut. So hearing that there are resources for that, it just makes me so happy for all of the authors out there that are struggling with that feedback. So thank you. Thank you for sharing
No,
it.
you're welcome. It really is the first time that it actually finally clicked in my brain because people have tried to explain it to me. I've read articles, I've watched videos, and it just wouldn't make sense. And I was like, what do you mean, show, don't tell? Like, I'm
Right. Like
showing you.
you're
Am I
writing,
not?
you have
Like,
to you're I'm showing you with this writing. Like you're
Yeah,
obviously I'm showing you because you're reading it and it's right there in front of your face. So
exactly. And then you get feedback saying, "Oh, but you're telling me what's going on." I'm like, "Of course I'm telling you. I want you to know what's happening."
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I actually know quite a few authors who have said stuff about that
Mhm.
particular issue, so I hope they see this episode and they can find
Okay, yeah.
it. Rachel, you are up next.
All right. So I guess the age-old question, indie versus traditional publishing, and why or why not?
So I went, my first trilogy was published traditionally by an independent press, which is like a bit of both worlds in a way. Um, and the reason I've always stuck to traditional publishing is there's a few reasons. The first is financial. For me personally, I do not have the capital upfront to hire an editor and actually pay them what they're worth. The same goes for cover artists and, that sort of thing. So it really is nice to be able to hand that over to a publisher and know that nothing's coming out of my pocket, so to speak, other than some marketing, which I might do on my own by choice. The second reason for me is time. With trad publishing, it's also just slightly less time. Again, I don't have to do the final edits. I don't have to do the a lot of admin that gets done. And then the third reason, and this one is completely on me. The third reason is that I either love my work or I absolutely hate it. And if I love it, I'm going to publish it as is. Like it is not going to get edited. That first stream of consciousness version is going to end up somewhere on the internet. I have to have someone telling me, no, slow down. Hold on, baby. Like it is good, but it's not that good. We'll get there. I do write quite quickly, which I'm thankful for. I know a lot of authors struggle, and I think it's that process of the word vomiting. And like I said, I word vomit it out. I take a couple of years to edit it, but I think if I was doing it on my own, I would just publish what I wrote because I won't have the patience. Like, who's gonna stop me?
Right.
Um, exactly, exactly. But I wouldn't say that either is better because in terms of independent publishing, I've considered it many times. If I had more time, just slightly more time, there's so many things that I would have preferred to do on my own. And I love it's a double-edged sword for me because of how in a hurry I always am. But I do wish that, trad publishing is so slow. You sign a book deal today, it gets published in a year and a half, even if that manuscript is close to completion. As I said, I do edit as well. So, I mean, if I was just a little better at editing and my manuscript was done, it would take me, what, a month maximum instead of a year and a half. So, I I personally do not believe that either is better, but for me personally, those are my reasons for choosing traditional publishing.
That makes quite a bit of sense in my opinion. Well, right about this time, we typically open the floor to our guest and let them talk about any upcoming events, any announcements, or just anything you want to talk to your readers about. So the floor is yours, Shameez.
That is lovely. Thank you so much. I'm unfortunately based all the way in South Africa and will not have any in-person events in the States for, I don't know, the inevitable future, I suppose. In terms of things coming up, Next Level Love is officially on NetGalley, and I would love if this episode airs within the time that it's up there. I would love for anyone to head over to NetGalley and download it, read it, review it. I mean, reviews are so important to authors who are still trying to build a name. And it'll be published on the 20th of January 2026. So even if you miss the reviewing period, please get your pre-orders in and show some love for my engineering couple. Next Level Love is my on internet friendship to real life workplace romance. These two dorks have no idea that in the daytime they work together and at night they're playing games together online and chatting, and they have been for years. They just have no idea.
I'm obsessed with this already. I'm such a
I'm
nerd.
heading to that galley. That's what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
on our way right now to download that. I love the premise. Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much, Shameez, for joining us, especially all the way from South Africa. Um, we appreciate you getting on at whatever, weird time zone it is
It's
compared to
not too
ours.
bad. It's 5 p.m. on my end, so we're good.
Awesome. Okay, good. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we hope you get lots of reads on NetGalley.
Yay! Thank you so
All right.
much. You're lovely to talk to. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.